Hey, Dr. Jon Finn here. Welcome to the Habit Mechanic podcast. Right now, you can get my new best-selling book, Train Your Brain for the AI Revolution, at tougherminds.co.uk. The digital book, audiobook, and physical book are all available at a special price that you won't find anywhere else. Hello, Habit Mechanics. It's Dr. Jon Finn here. I hope you're having a fantastic week so far. Welcome to a shorter episode of the Habit Mechanic podcast. Remember, you can listen to live episodes of the Habit Mechanic podcast inside the Habit Mechanic University app, where you can ask us questions live and we will answer you during the live streamed podcast. Inside the app, you can also access your Habit Mechanic toolkit. You can also watch our live masterclasses and join our live Change Challenge coaching sessions. You can download the app for free.
So back to your story then, John, and through this experience in elite sport, in education, developing your approach with the insights you had at your fingertips, you arrived at something which I don't think you coined it at the time, but later in the process of putting the Habit Mechanic book together, you called it the Habit Mechanic Manifesto. You arrived at this insight about the pivotal nature of our brains and the pivotal nature of habits.
Yeah, so the Habit Mechanic Manifesto, if you go into the app, which is free to download, free to use, this is labelled as our mission in there. So yeah, pulling it all together, Habit Mechanic Manifesto. I am a habit mechanic. I don't use outdated self-help and coaching methods that are becoming less and less effective in the challenging modern world. I use proven insights from cutting-edge neuroscience, behavioral science, and psychology to develop my own resilience and performance habits. Then I use the same techniques to help those around me thrive and succeed. I change people's lives by empowering them to be their best. My fellow habit mechanics help me to be my best. I am only one habit away. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what I think the habit mechanic approach is about. It's a force for good. It's about helping people to actually do better and learn to do that in a way that they can also help others to do better. You can do that formally by learning to become a certified habit mechanic coach, but equally, any tool that you're currently using from the book, it's designed in a way that it's easy to show someone else how to get the benefits.
Yeah, and in the book, you set out that Habit Mechanic Manifesto for people to see, and as you say, it's in the Habit Mechanic University app too. You then go on to talk about an important concept, I think. You use the phrase "only one habit away" to, I think, show people how they can begin a journey to feeling better and doing better, performing better. You talk about the idea of super habits and destructive habits and identifying those and the importance of that. Please tell us more about that, because I think it's something that people really does get their attention.
Yeah, so in short, I've learned that some habits are more impactful than others, both positively and negatively. The ones that are more positively impactful, I call super habits. The ones that are more negatively impactful, I call destructive habits. The destructive habit is something that you do, one habit that has a negative knock-on effect and activates lots of other unhelpful habits. So, for example, a destructive habit might be I finish work too late, so I'm really hungry, so I eat too much, and then I can't sleep very well, and then the next day I don't feel very good, so I'm not very productive and not very focused, so I end up finishing work late again, then I eat too much again, and then I start to gain weight, and it goes on like that. Could be I finish work too late and I'm stressed, so I have a glass of wine, but then I have another glass and another glass, and although I might fall asleep quickly, the quality of my sleep is poor. Then the next day I'm not focused, I'm not productive because my brain's not had the chance to clear out all the unhelpful things that have built up in it during the stress responses. and therefore at the end of the day I'm stressed again and I have another glass of wine, and it goes on like that. So that's an example of some destructive habits. Super habits are one habit you've got that activates lots of other helpful habits. So for example, on work days, the first thing I do is I go for a run. That's a super habit, because by going for a run, it means that, well, I get my I start my calorie count for the day. I try to do about 10 miles on work days, walking and running. I get my brain working well, get the right neurotransmitters into my brain so I can sit at my desk and be focused, clever, productive, do the kind of work that makes me feel good about myself, do the kind of work that helps me to achieve my goals. I know that I'm going to eat more healthily if I've done that exercise. I'll be able to finish work on time, and so on and so forth, just by doing, one habit, going for the run. And I have lots of different. Creating a tea plan is another super habit that I've got. You see people doing that in the app every single day. So yeah, so super habits and destructive habits, and essentially that's what the habit mechanic approach is all about. It's a program to help you to find your destructive habits and destroy them, and also uncover your super habits, consolidate the ones that you've got, and build more.
And people might think, wow, the way you've explained it, I can see how habitual, innocuous behavior that might not even be noticed can have such a profound negative or positive effect on our lives and our well-being. I think that's a sobering insight for people. But I also think it's worth stressing that in your approach, you're making it simple and practical for people to start the journey of identifying these things and changing them if they want to.
Yeah, so it's no good just knowing about super habits and destructive habits. You need the tools to help you to uncover yours and then build new habits. And that's what the Habit Mechanic program, which is in the book, is all about. So we start with the habit metric tools to allow us to analyze our habits. And then we use the Habit Mechanic toolkit to allow us to build better habits, always using a habit building plan to allow us to activate the 9 action factors to give us the best chance of actually getting rid of the neurons that are not helping us to be at our best and replacing them with neurons that will help us to be at our best.
Yeah, and normally on this podcast, John, we save the questions to the end, but I think what we're talking about is a great time to bring the question we've had in. And this question comes from David. Won't use your second name, David, but thanks for your contribution. And just a reminder, please do keep your questions coming in. We'll endeavour to answer them on the podcast. Submit your questions via the website, tougherminds.co.uk, or on social media if you want. And David asks, actually, he has read the Habit Mechanic book to some extent, or he's certainly come into contact with the ideas by the sound of it. He asks, it's talking about super habits and destructive habits. Will I discover more super habits and destructive habits, David asks, as I continue using the habit mechanic approach and continue on my journey with Tougher Minds, or will I just identify some and know more? Is it a fixed process, or might I uncover more of these super habits and destructive habits as I go on?
Yeah, you will, because your life is changing and the rules are changing all the time, so the injection of this human-like artificial intelligence will mean that some of the things that are currently helpful for us to do, we won't need to do those things anymore. We can use that time to do something else. But yeah, absolutely. And also, you might create some good habits, but then you go on holiday, something happens in your life, and those habits, they disappear. So then you need to re-establish them. Like one of the things, for example, I've just been away for a week, and one of the things I reflected on was, so I'd built previously a really good habit of not checking the news in the week, which some people think that's really extreme, but I've just found that that's not helpful for me to keep checking the news when often there's nothing that I'm missing out on. If I just check the news at the weekend, it's actually quite rewarding to see all the interesting stories and how they've developed. But also I'm not constantly interrupting my attention by looking and seeing what's on the news. And I noticed that habit had really slipped during the last period of time. So I want to re-establish that now. So I haven't actually checked the news this week so far. I've listened to, there's certain podcasts I listen to, news podcasts and things that give me business news or whatever, but I'm not going and actively looking at newspapers or news websites. But I can feel it would be easier for me just to open up the BBC website. You can feel the urge to do that. So it's just an example of me re-establishing or destroying a destructive habit that I've been on top of before, but it slips, so now I need to work on it again. So our life is always dynamic. Things are changing, the rules are changing, and we're never just going to find a set list of super and destructive habits. There's always going to be a backbone of my super habits that's going to be pretty stable, but there will always be new little things that I'll be adding into it, tweaking and refining. And the same for the destructive habits. There's a good chance that a new destructive habit is going to creep into my life in the next 6 months. It's going to be really unhelpful for me. But if I keep engaging in regular self-watching, daily, weekly, monthly, I'm going to be aware of that faster, and therefore I'll be able to destroy it faster. Thanks for listening to the Habit Mechanic podcast. If you liked it, please subscribe and tell someone else about one of the ideas or insights that you found most interesting.